Hi, Ian.
Um,
How you doing today?
how's it going? Sorry, I'm a bit late. It's a bit busy at the moment.
Well, I figure you're doing all kinds of interviews, so I wasn't in any big hurry. I was just sitting around killing time.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that. Thanks.
So, all right, well, we'll get to this because I know we do have a limited amount of time. Judas Priest, been around for 50 heavy metal years. First thing I want to do is congratulate you on getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What an accomplishment.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah. It was a hoot. The whole thing, it really was worth doing at the end of the day. It was great.
All right, any good stories from that event that we're not going to see on any broadcast anywhere? I'm just curious how all that goes down when you're backstage and the cameras aren't on.
Not really. I mean, it's like organized chaos, really. You're sort of there. You have a little bit of isolation in your dressing room, and other than that, it's just moving around and sitting. There's so much going on. There's no time for any. I don't know for anything to go wrong. Really, I mean, it looks like chaos, but everything's really, really well run, and
Nice.
everything's on schedule. And yeah, it's a great event. I had no idea the scale it was going to be. Um, it's not the sort of thing that we'd look out for, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things that me personally haven't been terrifically interested in, to be perfectly honest. And it's got nothing to do with us not being in there. It was just, I don't know, it's just something that never rang any bells for me. And it was, so when I got there and I saw the scale of everything, there's paying public in there, and of course you've got all the celebrities and VIPs on the tables at the front of the stage there. It was magnificent, the whole thing, and it was just wonderful to be a part of it all. And like I say, nothing went wrong, which was great.
So, when you were a kid back in the late 60s, early 70s, just getting Judas Priest started, that is not something that even crossed your mind. That and Grammy Awards and all of that. I mean, as far as being an
Oh, absolutely
award-winning
not.
musician.
No,
I mean,
that's it. I mean, we started out just a bit of fun, really. Um, and then you get the watershed moment. You're starting to get popular, and you start to get um, offers of shows coming from 200 miles away on a Wednesday. You've a job, and you can't do that. You ain't got time to work till 5 o'clock, get yourself cleaned up, and then drive 200 miles and be on stage at 8 o'clock. You just can't do it. And you have to make that decision about whether you're going to keep it as it is, just keep local, and I just treat it as just a bit of fun and a bit of pocket money, or whether you're going to go for it. We chose to go for it. Everybody packed in their jobs, except for the drummer, poor old John Ellis. I mean, he was the only one with a good job, and he said, "I really can't risk it." He left the band, so it's a decision that probably any of us would have made, given the same circumstances. But it was just unfortunate for him.
yeah, definitely. And it's just what was that like though? I mean, you guys are like the original metal band, the black leather studs, in your face metal band. I mean, what was the reaction you got back there when you guys first came on the scene?
Well, it wasn't metal back then. It was something that evolved over probably 10 years. I mean, it was probably British Steel when everything gelled and all came a coherent genre, if you like.
Mhm.
The music was always getting heavier as we started out. The last thing we wanted to be was another blues band, because that was the big thing at the time, 69. It was progressive blues and heavy blues and things like that. Cream, Fleetwood Mac, Free, even Hendrix, they were all blues based, really. And we didn't want to be another one of those. We wanted to be different. So we lent on the heavier side of things, probably because of the area we were brought up in, very industrial. Steelworks, car factories, you name it, coal mines, it was all there. And went from there, and it evolved over the years. In the early days, even when we could afford stage clothes, there were satins and velvets and things like that, multicolored shirts, very much hippie-ish. Uh, and then about 1980 and British Steel, everything gelled. We'd been wearing leather for a couple of years before then.
Mhm.
Um, and the music sort of, I don't know, everything sort of focused at that point, but we were on that track then, you know. But yeah, it was very back then, very very, very different. In fact, unbelievably so.
Well, I mean, thinking about that era you came up in, I mean, there's got to be some great jam session stories from back in the early days of Judas Priest.
Well, yeah, I mean, even in West Brom, a little town, about 60,000 people. That's all, just
Mhm.
north, very industrial town, just north of Birmingham. There was a nucleus of musicians there, and it really was. It was something that got you out of the grime and everything, and just the work related stuff. It was something else to do, and there was quite a few of us, and they formed 4 or 5 bands, you know, and they'd stick like that. 4 months wouldn't get anywhere. Then everybody changed positions, and then form up another 4 or 5 bands. You know, and to some degree, they're still doing that. You know, there's still guys there in West Brom. They're still doing it. I think the reason that we got on was because we didn't sort of buy into that. We stuck with what we got. So Ken and Alan Atkins and John Ellis and myself, and then when Al left, of course, Rob Halford came along, and he brought John Hinch with him, and we stuck it out, you know. And of course, the longer you stay there with the same name, the same personnel, to the greater extent, the more you get recognised, and okay, you start moving your way up the rungs of the ladder, you know.
Well, see, now that's the story for every young musician. Stick with it, and someday you might end up in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
It's very much so. I mean, if you've got something to offer, stick with it. Sooner or later, if you're any good, somebody will notice you. You know.
Well, I did go out and ask a few of our listeners if they had questions for you. So if I'm getting ready to ask you some weird questions, it's because they came up with them. I'm just going to forewarn you with this. So Missy wanted to know, okay, if you hadn't been, you know, a rock god musician, what would you have done with your life?
I probably would have ended up being some kind of engineer. Basically, I've always loved machines, any machine, from clocks and watches and tiny little things up to massive steam engines. I love anything that's mechanical, anything that moves. So I probably would have ended up somewhere amongst there, you know, somewhere in there somewhere. So that's, but yeah, that's what I would have loved to have done. Whether I would have been able to do that, I don't know. But give me that's what I would have done. It's spanner in my hand, you know.
Oh, for those of us who have gotten to listen for years, we're thankful you didn't go in the engineering direction.
Yeah, who knows? Paid more at the time, I might have got it, you know, might have carried on.
Well, Chris wanted to know, what are your top 3 favorite bands?
Top 3 favorite bands. My favorite band is Judas Priest. My second one is Cream. Let me see. The third one's probably Jimi Hendrix. Nice. They're all old guys. You know, people say, you know, what are you listening to? And I'll say, I've been listening to the same stuff for the past 50 years, you know.
Well, you know, it says one thing: amazing guitar work. All 3 bands.
Especially with Cream, you know, I mean, they were all 3, I mean, unbelievable players. You know, Jack Bruce, Ginger Baker, and Eric Clapton, you know, they're excellent, all 3 of them.
Okay, I'll get a couple of more of these in that they ask. Okay, so Brandy wants to know, what's something about Judas Priest that people wouldn't know?
That's a good one. I don't know. I think I'm pretty open about everything, you know. We are just ordinary people, you know. We do ordinary family men.
That might be the more shocking part to most people.
You know, we do our own shopping. I clean my own car, stuff like that.
See,
you know?
That's the thing nobody would expect. You clean your own car.
Yeah. My own lawn. Well, at least occasionally when the gardener doesn't show up. But ordinary human beings at the end of the day. We just do something extraordinary for a living, you know.
Well, you're getting to live the dream. And, well, Cheryl wants to know if you want to come and have dinner at her house, by the way.
I'd love to. What's her address?
Tell her to send you a message. But and Desiree might have come up with the weirdest question of all. Which was first, the chicken or the egg? she's all philosophical like that, right?
I would say the chicken.
Yeah, because where else would the egg have come from, right?
Yes. And we all evolved from amoeba in the seas, you know.
True.
And, you know, I think the creature came first, and the method of reproduction came second.
Which, okay, that's it for the listener questions. Now, here I am going to ask this one question. No, after the Rock Hall of Fame ceremony and everything else, and everybody kind of performed together, and Dolly Parton getting in there with you guys, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm going to make a rock album." Can we get Dolly Parton to do a cover of a Judas Priest song for that album, and you guys play with her?
Oh, that would be great, wouldn't it? You know,
right?
That'd be it'd be very, very flattering. And it's funny. I did a speech about the establishment and rebelling against it to start with, and then ending up being the establishment. And when you get people like Dolly Parton, if they ever do one of your songs, you are the establishment. You know, so yeah, it'd be. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, the others may feel differently, but I think it'd be a really flattering, you know, if you do that, to have us recognised by somebody who's a member of another genre. You know, I mean, Dolly's a massive, obviously, country and western star. For her to recognise us and do one of our songs, you know, it'd be a big thing.
Well, there's no question about the fact that you guys are legends in the rock world, and it influenced so many people. I mean, if I just think, I have this weird thing up on my wall. I'd pull it down, but it's way too huge. It is a periodic table of rock and roll.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, Judas Priest is right in the middle of this. So where it goes from one to the other and everything else. But I was looking at that earlier today. I'm like, look at all of these bands that would not exist had Judas Priest not existed. So I just that kind of was overwhelming to me to look at that and be like, wow, I'm trying not to fanboy out on you. And it's actually my thing. I know you're like, hey, I'm a regular guy, but if I just think about all of the bands that we wouldn't have these days if you hadn't started Judas Priest. So thank you from a music lover that has not only loved Judas Priest, but so many bands that just paid homage to you and existed because you existed.
In all mine.
So, I do realize we're running out of time, but I want to throw out there, of course, you guys play in the Landers Center Thursday night with Queensryche. How's the tour with Queensryche been?
Oh, it's great, Bill. We've worked with Queensryche many times over the years. They're a great bunch of lads. They really are. I get along with them well, and they're a great band, and it's a great bill, you know. So you won't be disappointed.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to it, Ian. Thank you so much for spending a little time with me today and chatting with me, and have fun on the tour, and have some barbecue while you're in town.
Thanks, Brian. It's been a pleasure.
Right. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.